Right now, there is sound in this room you are not hearing. A fan somewhere, the floor above you, the small electrical hum a fridge makes when nobody is listening. Your brain sorted all of it into ignore in about a tenth of a second, and it never asked you first. But ignoring is not the same as blocking. Now let one of them change. A voice starts up next door. A door opens, then opens again. The song you picked reaches the chorus. Suddenly you have read the same line 3 times, and you could not say what it said. And every night millions of people sit down to work and deliberately add a sound to the room. Headphones on, volume up, the focus playlist already going. It feels like getting ready. So what is that sound actually doing to you? The belief that it helps is much older than your playlist. In 1940, the BBC began broadcasting a program called Music While You Work into British factories twice a day. Steady tempo, no vocals. The theory was that the right sound would lift production. 80 years later, the format changed, and the belief did not. But here's the thing about a belief that old. Almost nobody goes back and checks it. The first thing you have been told is that music makes your brain work better. In 1993, at the University of California, Irvine, Francis Rauscher, and Gordon Shaw sat 36 students in front of a tape player. 10 minutes of a Mozart sonata, then a paper test, a folded sheet with a hole cut through it, and one question: what does it look like opened out? Scores went up. Here's what the paper actually reported. One narrow spatial task and an effect that faded inside 15 minutes. In 1999, Kenneth Steele ran the same test on 125 students at Appalachian State University and found nothing. The same year, Christopher Chabry gathered every Mozart study he could onto one desk at Harvard. The whole effect came out under 1.5 IQ points. This isn't a smarter brain. This is a rounding error. If this is useful so far, hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because there is a lot more of this coming. The second thing you have been told is that music blocks out distraction. You can check this yourself. Stop reading for 5 seconds and just listen to the room. Now notice what happened. The sounds already running, the hum, the traffic, you had to go hunting for. The ones that arrived, a click, a voice, a car slowing outside, found you. In 1982, at the Medical Research Council unit in Cambridge, Pierre Salamé and Salamé Baddeley gave people short strings of digits to hold in mind. Through the headphones, speech they were told to ignore. Recall dropped, being told to ignore it changed nothing. And now here's where it gets interesting. In 1993 in Cardiff, Dylan Jones and William Macken swapped the sound. One steady tone, repeated, cost almost nothing. A run of tones that kept changing wrecked people. Psychologists call this the changing state effect, which means what it sounds like. Your brain charges you for variety, not for volume. This isn't a filter you are putting on, this is a second thing to listen to. And a song is nothing but change. The third thing is the one you actually believe, that your music is different because you chose it and you have heard it 1,000 times. In 2010 in Cardiff, Nick Perham and Joanne Vizard played people music they had picked themselves, and then music they said they hated, while they held short sequences in order. Both hurt by about the same amount. Liking it protected nobody. But here's the part nobody talks about. In 2011, 3 German researchers worked through every experiment they could find on background music and averaged them. Across everything, the effect came out near 0. It was not spread evenly, though. The losses piled up on reading and on memory. Think about that for a second. It averages to nothing because it helps some things and quietly taxes others. And the ones it taxes are the ones you put the music on for. So if music is not making you smarter and it is not blocking anything out, what is it actually doing? Somebody went back and asked a better question. In 2001 at York University in Toronto, William Ford Thompson, Glenn Schellenberg, and Gabriela Hussein ran the Mozart test again with one change. Against the bright, fast sonata, they put Albinoni's Adagio in G minor. Slow, minor key, heavy as a wet coat. The Mozart group did better again, exactly as before. Then the researchers measured how alert and how cheerful each person felt, and matched the 2 groups on it. The difference vanished. It was never the music. It was what it did to how awake you were. So here's what that means, and it is not a small correction. It moves the whole question into a different category. In 2012, Ravi Mehta and colleagues at the University of Illinois sat people down to work with ambient noise running at different levels. A moderate level, roughly a busy cafe, improved performance on loose associative tasks. Turned up loud, performance fell off a cliff. Music is not a focus tool. Music is a dial on how switched on you are. A dial turns both ways. Now, put yourself at your desk at 11 at night, on the 4th hour of something repetitive you understood 2 hours ago. You are understimulated, and the dial is sitting low. Music pushes it up, and the work gets easier to stay inside. Change one thing. Same desk, same playlist, but now the paragraph is dense and you have to hold each sentence while the next one arrives. The dial is already high. Music pushes it past the top. Same person, same playlist, opposite result, which leaves an uncomfortable question. If it depends this heavily on the task, why is everyone so certain it works for them? In 1997, at University College London, Adrian Furnham and Lisa Bradley ran a memory test with pop music playing behind it. How much people lost varied enormously from person to person. The same songs and completely different amounts of damage. In 2007, at Glasgow Caledonian University, Gianna Cassidy and Raymond McDonald ran 5 tasks against 4 kinds of sound. Silence beat every one of them, and the music that lifted people most cost them most. Now put yourself in that test. The song you love is on, the work feels fine, and nothing in you flags a problem. That gap is the real problem here. You do not feel your working memory, the small amount you can actively hold at once. Being taxed. You feel the song. Music makes an hour feel shorter, and a shorter feeling hour feels like a better hour of work. You are not measuring your focus. You are measuring your mood. So here's the full picture. Music does not make your brain work better, and that effect was 15 minutes long and mostly measurement error. Music does not block distraction because your brain charges for change and a song is made of change. Choosing it yourself buys you nothing. What it does is move one dial, how awake and how willing you are, and whether that helps depends entirely on what you sat down to do. And right now, you are doing it. If something is playing while you read this, part of you is holding the sentence and tracking that sound at the same time. You never agreed to that split. You cannot feel it happening. And the part of you that would notice is the same part being taxed. So use the dial on purpose. Repetitive, familiar, already understood, turn it up. Dense, verbal, new, turn it off. And give the room back the hum you were not listening to anyway. The playlist never made you focus. It made not focusing feel fine.